Did you run into Prince while you were out there?
Yeah, I'll give you a joke with Prince. I met Prince first in England. He had
Oh,
come
wow.
over. I was doing a PA at a little club called Heavens, and this guy was standing up on the wall, and I looked at him like, I know this kid. I know this. Right? So he's standing there, and I went up, and I said to him, "You're Prince," and he never said anything. He didn't even say yes. He just stood there, right? So I said, "Man, I've got the first album, right?" I said, "I've got the first album, right?" And I love For You, that track For You. I just said to him, I love that track, right? And we started to talk music.
Right.
We did about 5-10 minutes, and then I had to go and do the show. So I went and I did my show. I came off and he was gone. So I didn't think anything of it. When Mama came out, I was doing a show in LA. And when I finished, 2 guys came up to me and said to me that they'd like to speak to me. Prince had sent them, right, to come and say it was his management company. He had sent them to come down and told them to make sure that they signed me. Right?
Oh, okay.
So,
to Paisley Park? No, he didn't.
It would have been Paisley. I think it would have been Paisley Park. It would have been Paisley Park.
Or maybe they were just like informative stage for that. Yeah, right.
Most probably at that stage, but he was like, make sure you sign him. And I was like, oh, wow, this guy,
Wow. He thought that highly of you. That's high praise. Yeah.
Come on. I was like really, really chuffed at that, that he had sent them to come down. I didn't sign, mind you, but he sent them to come down.
How difficult would that have been to get out of your record deal with the present record deal?
Man, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Can you imagine to have tried to get out of that deal at that time, right? And to sign with Prince's label and with what he was starting at that time.
Right.
Right. I doubt the record company would have never let go. They were making too much money at the time from me, so I don't think they would have ever let go.
Wow. Yeah. You could have been the first artist on Paisley Park Records.
Could have been.
Yeah. At least Prince wanted you.
Well, this is the thing. It wasn't like if management said they wanted me. Management made it clear that he said.
Yeah. Obviously, it was the truth.
Yeah. They came down and they made it quite clear, right? That, Prince said to us that we've got to make sure. They told me, you've got to make sure that you sign him, right? And I was there, I'm thinking like, wow, I hadn't spoken to that guy for more than 10 minutes. He must have watched the show and then split,
Yeah.
Right? But, he was fantastic. Prince was great.
You got a friend with your Minneapolis friend, a mutual friend, Monte Moir, who you reunited for a radio special recently. But first, before we get into what you did with Monte recently, how did you two become affiliated and become such great friends and work together?
I was playing a date in a place called Hitchin in just outside of London.
Okay.
And when I got to the gig, I was told that the Time would be opening act. And because I had just bought the album, right, the Time album, the first album, I was just in awe. I couldn't wait to meet them and talk to them and whatever else. And then when I was there, I heard that they'd cancelled, right? So they for whatever reason, something must have been happening in America for them, but they didn't manage to come. But years on, I wanted to make an album which was a sophisticated street album. I wanted to make something different. I wanted to do something completely left to center, not down the same route as I'd been going. And Monte's name came up as one of the producers. And I just thought, you know what, right? I'd like to do this. I'd like to work with Monte, right? So they made a phone call to him, the record company. He was up for it. And we first met when I came over to Minneapolis.
Okay.
And Monte started taking me around. And I think Monte did what I would have done, which is get to know the person you're going to work with.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so instead of just diving in and starting to write songs, we spent time chatting, finding out about one another's background, right? Talking about what England was like in comparison to what Minneapolis was like. Because when I went there, it was like the chill factor was incredible. The place is cold,
Yeah,
right?
oh yeah, yeah.
Minneapolis,
Notorious, yeah.
oh man, in the winter it's freezing. But I loved the lakes. I loved, I started to love everything about Minneapolis. Still is my favorite city in America,
Wow.
Minneapolis. Yeah, it still is.
Yeah, great town. Yeah.
I just loved the whole vibe of the place and the way that the musicians interact and the way that they help one another. You know, the younger kids coming in. And, you know, they used to have a session thing down at Creation where young kids would come and they'd play their music and you could buy the song off of them and stuff like this, right?
Oh,
Or you can help them to get a record deal. This was what they were doing. And we hadn't had anything like that in the UK. So going to Minneapolis, I spent, it must have been about 2 months in Minneapolis. But being in Minneapolis really taught me about being part of a community of musicians, right? Young musicians who were coming up, had great ideas, right? Wanted to share, wanted knowledge from us, right?
right. Yeah.
And Steve Weiss, who was the engineer, was just a wonderful, wonderful
Yeah, I
human.
was gonna ask you about him. Yeah. He was the
Yeah,
guy, right? Yeah.
Steve was the guy, you know what I mean? Right? The stuff that he did with Jam and Lewis, and then what he was doing with the time, and then what he was doing with Monte, he was just able to tap into you as an
Mhm.
engineer. Again, teaching me about working with somebody else who has ears and who has a great knowledge of sound, right? And weight of sound. You know, some people, you put a bass on and it's just the bass. But Steve seemed to know the kind of kilohertz that you need to have in the bass so that
Wow.
when it's played, it kicks you in the stomach, do you know? Right?
Mhm.
Opposed to knocking on the door.
Yeah. Wow.
You know, and back in those days in the UK, they used to mix on oratones. I don't know, do you remember oratones? The little very small speakers.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Remember
Okay.
them?
Yep. Yeah, like you put him on a desk or something?
Yeah, you used to
Right.
put them on top of a desk, a little
Right.
small speakers. But the reason they did that was because back in England at that time, everything was medium wave,
Mm.
right? So the frequency was completely different. And working with Monty and Steve again taught me right how to listen when I'm because if you can imagine you've done all of this recording and whatever else and it's going to go in a cassette which is like an eighth 1/8
Yeah.
and all of that sound on that small piece of tape. So you then started to learn that like you were losing sound,
Mm.
right? As much as you built this great sound, it's going on a cassette and the cassette would compress it so much that you would lose things.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that when I was first when I started, but working with Monty and that's like a good 5 years, 6 years on from Mama. But
Mhm.
working with them again gave me insight into how to mix for oratones. What are you after? What are you looking for? 'Cause again, as I said, because everything was medium wave, and when I came to America, everything was FM.
Mm.
So again, frequencies were different. Well,
Did you
you know,
Yeah.